Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Link.
And I'm Rhett. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we're going to be getting into some of your questions, helping you with some of the things that you are facing, such as what to do about witchcraft.
In your dating life.
Yeah, well, we'll get into the context. Also, what to do if you have a couple in your friend group that is getting divorced. How do you navigate that? Ooh, that's a juicy one.
And they may or may not be into witchcraft.
No, I think those are two separate ones.
But let's.
But they may or may not be. It's true. May or may not be is always true.
Yep. Let's just see. Let's just see what happens. You know? We're taking questions because people call us. We like taking questions.
We do.
As a way to just figure out what we're going to talk about. And I hope you're okay with that. I hope you like it. I hope you like it so much that you call us at 1-888-EARPOD1.
No, Link has changed. Everything has changed, man.
We got a lot going on. And
Rhett Link used to just talk about personal things, and they used to just go in depth, and now they just answer questions, and it's not as good anymore.
This allows us to have a vibrant conversation when otherwise, at certain points, we'd be like, what are we going to bring to this?
Are you telling me that someone asking a question is an opportunity for us to not only answer the question, but disclose things personally? And if you think about it, we still talk about personal things, probably to the same degree that we always have, but because it's in a different framework, people are psyched out and think that it isn't?
Some people are. But yeah, I just think that we're in one of those phases where you have to find creative fuel for things that, and otherwise this might require so much more preparation that we wouldn't have time to do it.
You're right about that, Link.
So I value this time, and I value the voicemails. That's how I feel about it.
Speaking of, you want to listen to one?
Yeah, man.
Hi, my name is Darian. I'm from Colorado, and I am calling to ask for some advice. I started seeing this lady. She's very beautiful, very kind, very sweet.
Okay.
And she has told me that she is into something called Planetary Witchcraft. I'm not sure if that is a red flag. He's tried to explain it to me a little bit, but I'm still not comprehending it 100%. But I was wondering what you guys would think of it and what I should do, if I should be doing research on it or if I should just be asking her more questions about it, have her explain it to me, or if it is a red flag. Let me know. Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.
Planetary Witchcraft.
Okay. There's some things that I tend to think about. Sometimes I try to think before I say things.
Sometimes,
but in order to do that, I have to think out loud. So just bear with me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say what I might say, but I'm going to caveat it. But I'm considering saying things, but just between you and me, I'm not gonna elect to say them until we figure out I should say them. But just between you and me, I'm like, I have no clue if this is a red flag, but it certainly could be. I don't date witches. They're scary.
Oh, come on, Link.
Nope.
That's no fun.
But I'm probably wrong about that because she's very kind and sweet.
Well, witches are probably some of the most fun people, actually.
I've got some people that in my life that I love that seem to be really open to that type of thing.
Okay.
And but I haven't engaged with them enough to I haven't gotten more than arm's length close. And I think if you learn more about this and you're diametrically opposed to it, then this ain't gonna work. If you think it's ridiculous, which some people think it's ridiculous if they dig into it, then it's not gonna work. It's a red flag is a relational red flag for you. I'm not gonna make a judgment about a person who believes things. But
smart.
if a red flag is just for compatibility, that's the only way I'm talking about red flags. And there can be a lot of red flags flying in terms of compatibility when the central identity of somebody involves the fact that they believe in planetary witchcraft.
Which
you've
said all this
to not believe in planetary witchcraft.
But you've said all this without
I don't even knowing
what it is.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
I was like, do you know what it is?
Okay, Jenna.
Like, I don't believe in horoscopes.
Tell me what planetary witchcraft is. I mean, I got a pretty good idea, but I want to hear it.
Like, is your Saturn returning? Is that what's happening? Is that part of it?
That can be part of it, yes.
I love Casey Musgraves, but I don't really give too much credence to Saturn returning.
But if you
But I could be wrong.
Okay, but if you were a single
You've already
man,
had your Saturn return anyway. It's over with.
if you were a single man,
I'm sorry I missed it.
if you were a single man and you found out that Casey Musgraves was interested in you, and then you found out that Casey Musgraves was really into planetary witchcraft.
And we don't know if she is.
Now, I'm just gonna, if I was you in this scenario,
Keep my mouth shut.
I would say, let me go find out about planetary witchcraft and become an expert. I'm just saying.
That's compelling.
Okay?
That is compelling.
But I do want to find out what it is.
It's it started ages ago in like Mesopotamia and Greece, Rome, Egypt. All the civilizations have this, but it started out as a combination of cosmology, astrology, astronomy, planetary witchcraft. All of that was under the same umbrella for a long time that was studied by philosophers and clerics because they're the ones who could read and write. So that's history. And then it's kind of become this offshoot and pseudoscience as astronomy became its own scientific study. Planetary magic is a bit of a pseudoscience because it takes astrology but added really intense equations and mathematics to it. Like it is quite, most people don't really practice hardcore because it does involve so much legwork on that end.
You gotta like calculate the movement of the planets?
You do, yeah. There's a planet can rule over a day, a planet can rule over a particular hour during the day, depending on where it is in the skies.
The last time I used my TI-82 calculator was
not for that.
Senior year of
You had a
college.
T82. I had a T92.
Oh yeah.
They upgraded when I had
never
them.
heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a similar, but most people do it and probably don't even realize they're doing it. Like people who track the phases of the moon and will put out moon water. Technically, the moon and the sun still fall under planetary magic as well. So people who do that with the moon, like I do that. I didn't realize that I was technically doing planetary magic because it'll be a full moon. I'll light a candle. I'll do a meditation. I'll do like some journaling. And that is technically planetary magic.
Technically, yeah. You bring your calculator?
I don't because it's
not even
the
an Excel
basic.
spreadsheet?
It's the basic. I'm just like, oh, it's a nice full moon tonight. I'll sit outside.
Okay, so it sounds like advanced astrology.
It's advanced astrology, yes.
Okay, can I say a few things now that I've had time to hear about it and think about it and hear what you have to say?
Sure, yeah.
Chances are that you, and is it whoever the guy called was, I mean, you, but also the royal you of the people of the world, believe things that are equally as ridiculous as planetary witchcraft, okay? You know, most people on Earth
How ridiculous.
subscribe to some sort of religious faith that has all kinds of stories and ideas about angels and demons and all this activity, this metaphysical activity that is happening. And the only reason that you think that one of those is ridiculous and one of those is not ridiculous is because you identify with one of them. Planetary witchcraft is no more ridiculous than the idea that there are angels and demons, right? So, let's just start there for a moment before we get into this one thing is evil and one thing is not evil. We all believe a bunch of bullshit.
I will give another note. Planetary witchcraft, most witches do not practice planetary witchcraft because it is so precise, whereas most witches work within the earthly realm and it is a looser feeling type of vibe. So that, well, I'll also just say, most witches aren't doing big time planetary magic.
Okay.
Big time planetary magic.
But we might. The second thing is that almost all of these things are essentially a framework for organizing your thoughts and the way that you live and the way that you interact in the world, right? And those things can be very useful to us as a species, right? Having these frameworks that may not necessarily be based in truth, but are more based in some sort of pattern recognition. Those can be very helpful to us as a species. It's been proven, right? When you have some sort of framework like that, even if it's not really based in fact, it can be a helpful thing. Like people organize their lives. Now, where it gets to be potentially a red flag for you is if some people believe the thing that they believe, the thing that cannot be proven, the thing that is most likely not true, or as we said at the beginning, may or may not be true. Mm-hmm. But some people are so convinced that the thing that they believe is true that if you don't completely buy into it, you can't have a really meaningful relationship with them. So, caller.
And if you try, then all of a sudden somebody's making all these decisions that impact you. Oh, we can't go to this party this weekend because of this planetary reality, or
right.
We can't be friends with this person, or I don't know how far it dictates your life, but like some people can probably go all in and like it could dictate the majority of their decisions. And if that starts impacting you, then there's gonna be a rub.
For me personally, right? I have my very large doubts that there is any legitimate truth going on here. But I don't deny that it's probably very useful for this woman that you described as beautiful and sweet. And so it's probably legitimately helpful in the way that she moves through the world and orients her. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. But I probably would not be able to have too deep a relationship with somebody like that if it was just like, hey, this is so important to me that if you think that it's pseudoscience, if you think that it's probably bullshit, then that's gonna like be a constant insult to me as a person because I don't think that it's bullshit. So I just think you have to, like, if you're like, I think I can go along with this, I'll have faith in it, I can kind of maybe vibe with this a little bit, you know, like we said, if you're a single man, Casey Musgraves is really into this, you could probably figure out a way to like it.
Not long term. I don't think I could do it.
Maybe for a little bit.
I don't think I could do it.
Maybe for a little bit.
Yeah, I could do it.
Maybe for 18 to 24 months.
I could do it for a little bit. We want to tell you about something exciting that's happening over on the Mythical Society. I would call this a passion project of sorts for my friend Rhett here.
Yes, I am a songwriter, and I am constantly trying to be a better one. And I selfishly came up with the idea to interview songwriters in order to become a better songwriter myself. So it is a series on the Mythical Society. It's called That Song's a Song. If you know the reference, you know the reference. And episode 1 is with the Orville Peck.
The masked country singer with the amazing vocals.
And you can watch that on March 19th over on the Mythical Society. We talk about his song. I like to talk about one song and like how that song came together. Talk about his song Dead of Night. We talked about how he feels being considered a gay icon. And also whether or not he's going to wear his mask when he is on Broadway.
Like he's in what show is he in?
Cabaret. He is the MC for Cabaret.
Okay. So this is a video series on the mythicalsociety.com. Check it out. You know, when it comes to your financial future, the smallest steps forward that you make now can make a big difference later.
Chime is a great choice for making that first step, as they really are trying to build a sense of community.
When you open a Chime checking account, you're one step closer to a better financial future with no maintenance fees, fee-free overdraft up to $200, or getting paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit. Making progress has never been easier.
And if you ever want access to your pay before payday, you can use MyPay to get up to $500 of your pay before payday with no mandatory fees or interests.
Join millions of Chime members who are working on financial progress. To date, Chime has spotted members over $30 billion.
Make progress towards a better financial future with Chime. Open your account in 2 minutes at chime.com/ear.
That's chime.com/ear. Chime feels like progress.
Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Spot me eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply.
Fees apply at out-of-network ATMs. MyPay eligibility requirements apply. Credit limits range $20 to $500. $2 fee applies to get funds instantly. Chime checking account required. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. Are you finding it difficult to squeeze in a balanced meal? Well, that's where Huel comes in. Huel is today's sponsor of Ear Biscuits. Their Black Edition ready to drink is a complete meal in a bottle.
Packed with 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, and low in sugar, Huel is the global complete nutrition brand with over 500 million meals sold.
And for new customers shopping at Huel.com, you can try it for 15% off plus a free gift using our exclusive code EAR. That's it. It's EAR at Huel.com.
Now, Huel sent us the Black Edition here, and I gotta say, we're boys on the go. Boys on the go. We gotta go.
Yep.
We're going all the time, going everywhere. We eat our meals here usually while doing other things.
Yep.
It's quick, and sometimes this is even quicker than any other option, right?
And I love it, and I don't have to chew anything.
And you don't have to question whether or not you got what you needed.
Glug, 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 glug. Talk, 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 talk. No chew, chew, chew,
That's
chew,
right.
chew. It's a perfectly balanced meal designed by experts, so you don't have to think about nutrition, and they actually taste like a milkshake with delicious chocolate and vanilla flavors. I love them both.
Plus, at less than $5 per meal, it's a budget-friendly option that delivers on quality. We really like the Black Edition ready to drink because 35 grams of protein and 27 vitamins and minerals are all in one bottle, and that's hard to beat.
So that's 15% off plus a free gift for new customers using our exclusive code EAR at Huel.com. Please see our description for terms and conditions.
Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
I'm a bit grumpy.
Oh,
and I'll acknowledge that.
okay.
And I'm gonna be vulnerable.
That has something to do with some planets.
You know, it might.
Actually, yeah.
All right, what? I'm grumpy because of what planet?
Mercury has just entered Aries, so things are very fiery right now.
See, there you go.
All right, well, that's the green light for me to give you the fire then.
Yeah, go for it.
And then hide behind Mercury. So don't come at me, come at Mercury with what I'm about to say. No, I'm just joking a little bit, but here's the thing. It's hard to be open-minded. It takes a lot of work to be open-minded. When you don't have any motivation to agree, when that propensity to agree with something really goes down, it's really hard to be open-minded. Like, I think a lot of the conversations we have here, it is a value of ours to be open-minded and not be judgmental.
Right.
That's a value of mine personally. But I'm just telling you, there are times when it's just tested. It is hard to withhold judgment and to not clamp down on an opinion. You know? It's not easy. Which explains why I just have this instinct to just want to be like, oh, that's bullshit. It's just to denigrate it, just because it's easy and I'm grumpy.
Well, but you know the thing that I've observed about people who believe things like planetary witchcraft, and they like really know about it and they like really practice it. In my experience, people who go that far to invest in something like that and to like really try to figure it out, whatever that means in that context, they tend to be pretty thoughtful people in other areas in their life. There are a lot of people who just sort of just go through life never actualizing, like never deciding that they think anything, never committing to anything, never like having any philosophy, like never having any preferences, and just kind of just going along with the flow. People who, they may believe something that's probably not true, but they probably really believe it. They probably have some conviction. It probably like translates into other areas of their life. I'm just saying, if you've got the ability to believe bullshit really hard, you probably also like stand up for other things. I mean, I don't know. It could be kind of interesting. I think I'm talking myself right back into it. Sometimes,
but isn't it? Let's divorce it from witchcraft and just the thoughts on being open-minded. It takes a lot of work, right?
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying that there's a reason why people just get stuck in their ways, and why snap judgments are a thing, you know?
Well, it's natural, the momentum of whatever you believe, or the momentum is to continue believing whatever it is that you believe. And you create these like cognitive mirages for yourself in order to, I didn't know I was going to talk about this, but I think it's a good time to talk about it.
Well, I kept wanting you to talk about it, even though I have no clue what you're about to say.
Right.
So I thought it might open something up.
We were on
in your planet.
We were on Rainn Wilson's podcast talking about our deconstruction journey. Ended up being most of the conversation, and that came out about the same time as our deconstruction update on this podcast. And so suddenly on the internet there was like Rhett Link talking about their deconstruction again, creating that fodder for Christian YouTubers to now destroy us and take us down or whatever.
Okay.
I haven't seen any of the videos. I'm not really in a season, to use a very ministry word. I'm not in a season of watching that content right now, like content about us talking about things.
But are you aware that it's happening?
Oh, well, so.
Because I'm not.
Soul Boom posted some clips of some things that we said. And I think we got, like the Mythical account was like invited to collaborate or whatever. And I like just looked at I watched the clip and I was like, I'm really good at anticipating the thing that people are going to say about the clip, because I was those people who say those things about these kinds of clips. And I like looked in the comments and I was like, oh yeah, this is getting the response that I expected to get. And I think one of the things that was said is Rainn is talking about how he considers himself, he's Baha'i, but he considers himself a Christian because he loves Jesus. And I was like, well, if you're talking about the teachings of Jesus, well, then I consider myself a Christian. But if you're talking about like assenting to, the gospel or the Nicene Creed or whatever, I'm not a Christian. And of course, the knee-jerk reaction to this from a Christian perspective, from an evangelical Christian perspective, is, well, if you accept the teachings of Jesus, you accept that he said he was the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through the Son. You accept all of the teachings of Jesus, so you're just picking and choosing. Now, this is a very knee-jerk reaction to that doesn't take into account like what I might have actually been meaning, which is the moral teachings, the Sermon on the Mount, basically what Jesus teaches. I am on board for all that, but the literary creation or the legendary creation that is Jesus as he is worshiped as God in the flesh, I think that is a legendary creation, a literary creation, and I don't believe that that's true, right? But I actually in the moment thought to myself, I kind of deserve this. I deserve people to misunderstand and misrepresent me, or to take my words and twist them, or to take my words and say, I'm going to use that for fodder, because I don't know if you recall, and this will get back to the point, I promise. When we were on staff with Campus Crusade, and I was raising support, we were raising support. I don't think you went with me. I think Jesse actually went with me. I went out to the UNC campus. Remember this video?
Yeah, and you interviewed students.
And I had a plan.
About their worldview.
I had a plan. I was like, I need to have a video that I can use for support raising. So when you're on staff with Campus Crusade, you go around to individual people and you meet with them at their home and you ask them for a monthly donation, and that's how you make your living.
It's a good time, especially if you do it for almost 2 years.
It took you 2 years, right? I got a little under the wire. But I was like, I think it's because of this video. I was like, I'm gonna go out to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, this liberal school. And I'm gonna ask these students questions about God, and I'm going to film their responses. And then I'm gonna take their responses and I'm gonna put it into this emotional video. So I would literally just ask them things like, how does one get to heaven? Or what is the way to connect with God? Things that I knew that they would end up giving some progressive, wishy-washy answer to, like, well, I don't think you can know this. Or there are many ways to connect with God. Or I don't think we can be sure about that. And so I took all their answers, and what I did is I would take their answer and I would juxtapose it against a scripture that says the exact opposite of what they're saying. So they would be like, I think there are many ways that you connect with God. And then it would be like, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through the Son. And there was some really emotional music playing the whole time.
Yeah.
And I made this video, and it was a hell of a video. It killed every time I showed it. In fact, it killed so hard that they ended up showing it at like Christmas conference. They ended up using this video in the region. Other people were using my video. By the way, did I get permission from these students? No. It was the late 90s, early 2000s. We didn't do things like release forms at the time.
It was for a good cause.
And I thought it was justified, right? And so I have since, I think at some point I like publicly apologized for making that video. I mean, I don't know who the students are or whatever. But here's the thing that I was doing. I was doing the very thing that the people in the comments are doing, which is I believed what I believed so hard that I was willing to take anything that somebody said and use it to bolster my conclusion, right? You get back to this thing about not being open-minded. Like, this is the world that almost all of us live. I definitely live in this world. I have to fight this tendency. Having broken out of a very exclusive ideology and now being in trying to be in more of an open space, I do think gives me an experience where I can be like, no, I know what it's like to know that you're right about something and to believe that everyone else is wrong about it, and to be able to filter every single thing that they say through your filter and basically not believe that there's any gray, not believe that there's any nuance, not give anyone the benefit of the doubt, but take this opportunity to pounce, to put forth your ideological viewpoint. And I did it, and I thought I was doing a good, and you justify it because you're like, well, I'm getting the good message out there, right? Mm-hmm. If I look back at that video now, which I don't think I could even find it, I guarantee you that the answers that I saw as just damning to these students are probably actually really, really thoughtful. Like students who were just not sure. They just weren't sure what they believed. And they wanted to have an open view, and they wanted to believe that if there is a God, well, there's probably multiple ways to commune with that God. Just reasonable things that reasonable people think, that I saw as being completely opposed to my truth, the thing that I believed. So yes, it's very difficult to be open-minded. It took, and I'm not saying I'm like Mr. Open-minded, but I'm saying when it came to the possibility that I might be wrong and beginning to let a few things into the filter, that was a decades-long process of even beginning to let things through the filter. And then it was a decades-long process of letting anything that got through the filter begin to actually have any impact.
And the filter keeps wanting to close. I think there's something to human nature, at least in my own experience. Like, it takes work when you bring up stuff that I have no point of reference for, that people are building their lives and their decisions around, like planetary pseudo-mathematics. And it's like, today I'm not able to talk about it in a way that doesn't sound derogatory, right? Because I just don't have the capacity to be open-minded. I'm not open-minded today. So I'm just not gonna engage with my witchy friends. Unfortunately, I'm doing it right here on this podcast, and but it's just a good reminder that it takes work to empathize and to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, and to give yourself to throw some doubt back on you. The benefit of the doubt is the doubt that you have and that you're giving to somebody, right? The doubt that you're not completely right. Is that what the term means?
I don't know.
But that's how I try to use it. I try to say, well, maybe I should doubt my own conclusions and give you the benefit of that.
So
did I just squirrel the definition?
I appreciate where you're coming from, but I want to push back a little bit.
Do it.
Because what I would say, okay, let's just talk. I don't know a lot about planetary witchcraft. I know a little bit about astrology, which it sounds like, again, planetary witchcraft is astrology plus.
I think if they didn't use the term witchcraft, I think they'd be off to a much better start because there's a stigma.
Well, but
it's
there's
really planetary magic with a K at the end.
Yeah, magic with a C and a K?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're gonna take them both.
So let's talk about astrology for a moment, right? Now, I have people that I love who believe very strongly in astrology, right? Now, the not a lot, but the enough, I think, that I've looked into it has led me to the conclusion that all of astrology is based on pattern recognition. Like this is what I think the scientific view of astrology is. Do I think that when you were born has any actual where the planets were when you were born has a legitimate impact on who you are that can be tracked across the population? No. I think any legitimate scientific study that has looked into this has seen that that is not the case. It is pattern recognition, which we are really, really good at doing as humans. Now, if I say that and you really believe and when I say pattern recognition, what I mean is that you see the astrological information about your sign, and in the same way that when a psychic is talking to someone, it seems like they're getting this information right, but really you are attaching yourself to the things that they're getting right. Now that's my personal view. Could I be wrong? 100% I could be wrong. I am open to being proven wrong. I'm open to, but all I'm saying is that I think that if astrology was true, then I think it would bear out in the scientific investigations around it. I think that we would actually see it. It would be repeatable. We'd be like, oh, it is true that Aries does this or has these tendencies. But I think, no, we're just humans and we're seeing patterns. That's my view. And I know that view is offensive to people who really believe in astrology and really, embrace it. But I don't think that doesn't mean I can't have a relationship with you. What I'm saying is that if you're saying being open-minded is me, I think the limit of my open-mindedness when it comes to that, when it comes to what I believe is pseudoscience, is to be like, I could be wrong. I'm not going to die for this. I don't think that anything should happen to you because you believe this. I'll still be your friend. I'll still love you. When you start talking about it, I'll nod and be like, wow, it's cool. You want to do my chart? That's cool. And I'll sit and read it with you. But I'm probably not going to believe it, right? And that's fine because that's just not, the way I construct my worldview isn't based on that. It's based on things that, it's evidence-based. And I just don't think the evidence is there for astrology. But being open to that person as a human, I don't think that means opening myself up to things that might not be true. Like, I don't know if that.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? I'm saying I have a philosophy whereby which I form my worldview, and it is evidence-based. Like, what is the evidence that we have for that? I just don't think I can go any further than that. And then anything beyond that evidence is faith. So like, I consider myself a person of faith insofar as I want there to be something beyond us. I want there to be a God-like thing in the universe. And so I have faith that exists, but I don't believe that that's evidence-based. I don't believe that I can defend that, and I'm not gonna try to convince you of it. That's just a personal thing for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And if you're dating somebody, back to the question,
yeah,
and you're gonna be a life partner with somebody, if that's what you're in the market for, then you got to really understand how hardcore they are and how their beliefs impact. It goes beyond fascination, or just, you can have some open-minded if you're a friend, but your level of scrutiny has got to go way up when you become somebody's life partner. Because the level of impact and cooperation that's required for a long-term relationship where you're making decisions about everything, like the most fundamental decisions of like, how you gonna have kids, how are you gonna raise them, how are you gonna raise them to make decisions? You know?
You don't want to be unequally yoked, is what you're talking about.
You don't want to be too unequally yoked as two ox who are farming your land, you know?
I think
there's some wiggle room there.
It depends on the person. Like for me, everything that I just said is a big red flag for someone who really believes in astrology, right? They'd be like, well, I don't want to be in a relationship with him if he's like constantly thinking that what I believe is BS.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, I mean, it's probably BS is my position. You know, it's just like, but it's cool. And yes, listen, I cast, what are the?
Dispersion? Dice?
The little stones.
Lots.
No, it's not lots, it's runes.
Okay.
I have let me just say, so I've said all that, but let me just add this. I have a bag of runes, okay? I have a bag of runes in a rune book. Okay, so this is ancient. They kind of recreated it and tried to guess what some of them meant, but it's like old Norse god stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they each mean something. And you have a bag of them, and you reach into them, and you can do a 3 rune read, you can do a 5 rune, 7 rune.
That's witchcraft.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I do is, if I'm gonna go on a personal retreat, or I'm going on a vacation, or I'm gonna go on a solo retreat or whatever, I'll take it and I'll run these runes like a 3 rune thing, and it gives me like an intent. It gives, like, you have to read it according to the book, and there's like 3 things. Now, I simultaneously believe 2 things. One, I don't think that there was a metaphysical thing that happened that caused this to happen that is actually indicating something about my future. But I also believe that by doing this thing and reading this book, it gives me something to bounce off of, in the same way that we were talking about people asking us questions. Yeah. I didn't know I was gonna talk about this today, but your questions led to us talking about this. And I like having something to react to that orients and focuses my time.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a third thing, which is like, maybe there is something metaphysical going on. But that's just for me to be like, maybe there is. I'm not gonna try to prove it to you. And then sometimes there are certain things I'll get through with a trip, and I'll be like, this was really serendipitous. Like, this was the reading, and then this thing happened, and that's pretty cool. Again, do I think that the runes did something? Probably not, because I know that the way my brain is with pattern recognition is that I can still have a really powerful experience because my brain is capable of doing that kind of stuff. So that might be a red flag for some people.
Yeah, for me, we can't do this anymore.
The podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're, if nothing else, quite the hypocrite.
I don't see this as hypocrisy.
I'm joking. I understand the focus part of it, and like your desire to be open and to like also to be a little freaky deaky with your dice.
It's the same reason when I was in Portugal, I would find, there's so many beautiful cathedrals. I would go into a cathedral and I would sit and I would pray. Do I think God's listening? Do you know? Do I think that the baby up there in the woman's arms is God in the flesh? Almost assuredly not, from my perspective. But do I know that thinking that and all that came with it severely impacted my life and who I am, and has shaped our civilization in ways that are greater than almost any idea? Yes, that's also true.
I think you need to devise a test, because I don't want to say this is a red flag, but you got to do your research. I mean, if this is a central point of your potential partner's life, I am a planetary witch. I practice planetary witchcraft, and you don't know anything. Oh,
Planetary magic.
Planetary magic, and you don't know anything about it, well, that's a big disconnect. If it's very central and you know nothing about it. But if you get exposed to it and you like it, I just want you to come up with something that you feel strongly about that might push you. I don't know, what's an example of something that a planetary witch would say, oh, we can't do that.
We can't go to Six Flags today because
right.
Pluto might knock one of us off the top of the roller coaster.
So you got to make your Six Flags plans and see what happens. I think you got to accelerate some sort of conflict here and see if it can be resolved.
But you said she was beautiful. You said she was sweet.
It's not good enough.
It might be. It might be good enough.
She might have a wonderful dog.
This is a small. I mean, it's hard to find somebody. I know. Listen, I'm grateful. I have a great relationship with my wife. Every day I hear people talking about dating, and I'm more grateful. And so, if you find a beautiful, sweet witch, I think it might be good enough.
Good enough. Yeah. That's what I'm telling my kids. Just find someone that's good enough for you.
Yeah. Just find out if he does want to stick around, find out which planet she prescribes to most, and then find out which herbs are related to it, colors, metals.
See if you're into that.
And then get her those as gifts.
Oh, yes, get her those as gifts.
Those as gifts.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. It's actually, there's so many positives.
Planetary witches are easy and manipulated, is what it sounds like.
It's so hard to figure out. It's so hard to figure out what to give people for gifts.
Those are the easiest things to figure out what to give people.
She's always
going to
love
gift certificate
this.
to House of Intuition.
Yeah, like you
just get whatever planet thing you want.
Get her shiny rocks.
Shiny rocks.
I don't know. The more we talk about this, the more it seems awesome.
Oh yeah, to me too.
It's spicy. It's just spicy psychology, guys. That's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Spicy psychology.
I mean, the Enneagram.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more observational, but again, it's not like astrology in that it's where you were born doesn't determine it. But it is a framework that it doesn't actually. You can't actually categorize people into 9 different categories. Like, that's just the way that circle ended up working out. And it's actually a really useful paradigm for thinking about yourself and thinking about your relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's funny.
We need things to, like, help us.
In the White Lotus, the new season, Enneagram. Like she had the line about the Enneagram.
Yes.
Speaking of which.
We have a White Lotus question.
Play that voicemail.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I was calling because I'm watching the new season of White Lotus, and there's a family there, and they're from North Carolina. And behind the scenes, one of the actors was talking about how the Durham, North Carolina accent was one of the hardest to replicate. So I didn't know your all's thoughts about that, or if you watched the show and thought it was authentic. Just love to hear more about it. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to kick it off. Well, interestingly enough, we talked about this in A Good Mythical more.
Yeah.
We talked about the accent specifically because it really jumped out at us. And
so this is a little advertisement.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's make this as a little plug for
you probably already know this. If you like Ear Biscuits, you will like Good Mythical more. Sometimes because we see the chatter. And we know that some of you have picked up on the fact that Good Mythical more is essentially an unscripted playground for us to, even though GMM is unscripted, it's much more planned. It's like you have this many rounds. Like,
sure.
Good Mythical more is a podcast.
They'll usually give us something to do, and sometimes the conversations will be like a parallel thing that happens. And
we just end up talking. We end up talking about things that were, and we talked about this very thing about White Lotus and these accents. So anyway, if you're not watching Good Mythical more, because you're like, I'm an Ear Biscuits person, what do you think about this? I actually thought about starting a campaign called More is Better. Because more is better is like
yeah.
More is better, people say that. And like
more is better than what? Less or Good Mythical morning?
For some people, more is better than Good Mythical morning. And that's great for you. That's great. If you think that, that's great.
Because it's 5 days a week.
We do like this. All these things are an offering. Some of it's all for you. You don't have to like it all. You can like some things more than others. It's good. It's great.
Yeah.
More is better.
So what did we say? You got to go watch that one. I wish I knew what it was called so I could tell you the name of the video, but I don't.
So you don't even want to answer the question. You want to make people go find it.
Well, I can't remember everything we talked about there. So we certainly know, I mean, the fact that it was a Duke Carolina couple and like the storyline there, that was it. I mean, we're very familiar with that. The accent, the guy from Harry Potter, his accent,
The dad.
we very much approve of it.
Let me just say,
I also approve of
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey's accent. You think it's over the top, but
No,
I don't.
listen, it's not that. Okay, I take it back. She came in so strong. Here, I have a sensitivity. As a Southern person, I have a sensitivity
She's
to
also
people
very
doing
strung out.
people doing Southern accents in media. And when they come in real strong, I'm like, oh, come on, we don't talk like that. But the fact is that some of us do.
Yeah.
I told you about the
She's
woman.
on Marrazepam or whatever.
I told you about the woman. The accent has nothing to do with
Is that what it's called?
Lorazepam?
She loves marzipan.
Yeah.
Lorazepam?
Yeah.
So I told you about the woman who really liked Sean, my dog, in North Carolina, who literally sat there next to Sean for, I'd say half an hour, and repeatedly would be like, he is so cute. He is so cute. And it was, I'm not exaggerating, it was like that. and so there are people in North Carolina who talk like that. I love it. And Parker Posey is approaching that. What the dad is doing is so specific to North Carolina that you may think,
He's probably the one from the behind the scenes.
because he's British, you may think, I think he's British, you may think to yourself,
Well, he was in Harry Potter.
they only let British people in
yeah,
that.
you're right.
You may think that he is slipping into, like, if you don't know that accent, you may think he's slipping into, because that happens a lot of times with a
British accent?
British person doing a Southern accent, because they actually are
There's some
very
of
much
it in there.
informed by each other. But what ends up happening with him is there's those moments where the accent disappears into the character for me in a way that, like, I could totally see this guy like on the phone outside of Deepak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's nailing it in a way that's I cannot do that accent. Like if I do a Southern accent, it won't sound like you would say home is like home.
Yeah. And the kids are not attempting any accent.
Which is very true to life, because
still
if
makes sense.
you're in the Triangle area now,
if you grew up there.
like my nephews and nieces don't have any
you're not gonna
accents.
have an accent.
Yeah. You have to be outside of the city to still have an accent in North Carolina.
So I'm not caught up. Well, neither one of us are caught up right now, but I always try to watch as soon as I can.
Yeah, between White Lotus and Severance, we are in a really good place with our TV options right now.
I haven't caught up on Severance either, because I went back with Christy and Lando and made them watch season 1 with me I've heard that was a great decision, but I don't, to get ready for season 2. I've never gone back and rewatched something to get ready for another season. Yeah, I always say I'm going to do it, but I don't have enough time for that. I might, previously on, I depend on that.
Yeah,
but
strong.
I'm so glad that I did it for this one, because
there's a lot to wrap your mind around. I just binged the whole first season for the first time in January, when I was sick.
That's good.
Okay, but here's a question. Tying all this together for a moment.
Yes.
Again,
open-mindedness.
We have to
witchcraft.
I just established. I'm happily married
Southern
man,
accents.
but we have to hypothesize sometimes. If you were single, you met a woman. She was not into Planetary Witchcraft, magic. She thought exactly the same way you did about that, but she hated White Lotus. She just thought it was she was like, I don't get it. She was like, I don't get it. Okay. What's worse? A woman who's really into Planetary Witchcraft, or a woman who really hates White Lotus?
I don't, if you're of another if you're our age, I feel like White Lotus is for middle-aged people.
Okay, well, the person that you're dating is going to be middle-aged.
I don't understand why. I mean, and I understand that like maybe the characters would rub you the wrong way and you just couldn't stand it. I just don't know. I'm trying to find out what the reason is, but there isn't one because it's hypothetical.
If I only know one thing about a person, and it's that
I can
they
live
don't
with,
like the White Lotus, then but I'd just be like, okay.
I don't think that's indicative of, that's not a red flag for me. I mean,
I'm just saying.
You need to be with somebody who like, they need to be into things you're not into, and shows is an easy one. But you can find
But
something.
the alternative is someone who's really into planetary magic. That's the scenario. I'm not saying that if I met someone and everything about them was great, but they didn't like the White Lotus,
planetary
I would throw
magic,
them out.
It impacts a lot more areas of your life, potentially every area, depending on what you believe.
Of course, but not
practice.
liking the White Lotus means things, man. It means other things about you.
What do you think
Okay.
What does it indicate?
They also don't like Severance. They don't like either.
Oh, that's totally different.
Okay.
Severance is not funny.
Okay.
And it's sci-fi.
But you love both of them. So what if they hate both of them? What if they hate the Lord of the Rings too? Now, a lot of women hate the Lord of the Rings, and it's okay.
Yeah, because there's no women in it.
I don't.
And I get that.
Not true, and I don't hold it against them. But I mean, there's a threshold here. At some point, you've got to be like, what? Like when people are like, I don't get Seinfeld. Like I'm like, okay, I understand that. Like a lot of people don't get it, you know. But I'm just saying, the White Lotus, it's like, it's for everybody, man. It's not like some narrow comedy. You know what I mean? It's just great storytelling, you know?
I'm sympathetic. I mean, there's a part of me that if I woke up on the different side of the bed, that I wouldn't like White Lotus. I love it, but like spending time with rich narcissists.
Yeah, but
might not be my idea of a good time.
The alternative is someone who's really into planetary magic. And I'm just thinking, if I find out somebody loves the White Lotus and they're also into planetary magic, I'd be like, that's interesting. That's interesting. But if it's like she hates planetary magic and she hates the White Lotus,
I'm gonna tell you
what does she like?
Something else that I'm not completely caught up on is Survivor. Like you don't want to be the first person voted off as Survivor, and they recently premiered the new season, and in episode 1, you know who got voted off? The Planetary Witch. Mm-hmm. Immediately.
There was one?
Yeah. Out of nowhere. It was just like, you know why? Because she just kept talking about that type of stuff.
Yeah, you got to keep that
She just
quiet.
kept talking about it, and they just voted her out. Was she a threat strategically?
They're like, we can't put up with
socially?
this.
They just
annoyed.
I mean, we're already out here starving.
They couldn't put up with it.
No, literally,
There
that
was
is what
clearly someone else who was playing really hard and being aggressive, and they should have got rid of her at first. Did they do it? No, because they were too blindsided by the planets. They got rid of her.
Yeah.
They got rid of her. She was nice to have around. She was a beautiful soul. She was kind, and she liked to hang out with people.
She flew too close to the sun and the moon and the planets and the
she
stars
flew too close to the cuckoo, is what some people thought. And she was out of there. First one to be forgotten, never to be remembered.
She sounds memorable to me.
Except now.
Well, she's probably watching the White Lotus now.
Well, ironically, she had to like stay at a resort for the rest of the time.
They probably let
she's
you watch
like
TV.
living the White
They
Lotus.
let you watch TV there.
But
I don't know if we've concluded anything. Yeah, those accents are really impressive, especially the husbands.
Hi, I have a question. We have a very tight-knit social circle, and we have all of the couples in this group, except for one, have children that are all roughly the same age. And so we oftentimes, like, you know, at least once a month, if not more, get together in one big group, and the adults socialize and the kids socialize, and it's a really good time. And once a year, we also as a group typically take a beach vacation. So recently, one of the couples, the only one that does not have children in that same age range, have decided to get a divorce. And it has become really ugly and acrimonious. So I am curious, how do we go about disinviting them from the annual beach trip without causing too much of a ripple in our friend group? Because we don't necessarily want to kick either of them out, but they can't go on a trip together.
Yeah.
Any advice you have about this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Bye.
Well, first of all, it sounds like you had a beautiful thing, and now it's in peril. I think that
just with that one couple.
what you describe, and the whole thing may be in peril. You need to tread lightly. I'm just saying, tread lightly, because the whole thing is a friend group is precarious. We know this, and it's precious. And when it's working, it's amazing. And but it's hard to keep it going. And with something like this, you might be in for some sort of a split, because it doesn't sound like the easy way out is on the table, which is just choose a side and kick one half of the couple to the curb and keep the other half. You said you didn't want to kick either one out. Well,
because that's the easy answer. I would say,
yeah,
a lot of times,
choose. If you can't choose a side,
a lot of times there's one person who's the bigger asshole, and everybody knows it. If you all know, like if you all get together, independently, and you Survivor style, you say, okay, the person who's the bigger asshole, y'all put that name in the hat, and if everybody takes out Tim, whoever the person, it's not necessarily the man.
Or Angie. Could be Angie.
If everybody takes out the same person, then y'all voted that person off the island, okay? Yep. And there's no more discussion. You just disinvite the person who's the bigger asshole. That's the first thing, okay? But if it is, we don't know who's the bigger asshole, and it's not about being an asshole, it's just sometimes marriages don't work.
Yeah.
Some people were friends. A lot of times, the men were more friends with the men, and the women were more friends with the women. I mean, that's how it works a lot of times. So you do have to be really careful here. You could do a tag team. I've seen this done. I haven't seen it done, but I'm suggesting it.
It ain't gonna be possible.
You invite both of them to the beach weekend, but you say y'all both can't be here at the same time. You have to tag in, tag out.
Uh-huh.
Now that I've said it, I realize it's not a great idea.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. I mean, you could let them decide, but tell them that you don't want to get drug into the middle of this.
And there's kids, too.
This is your vacation.
There's kids. They're all friends.
At least they don't have kids that are of the same age, so there's a little less drama there.
Here's another idea.
The kids aren't going to lose friends.
How about you all get together and you desperately plead that they don't get divorced? Here's another horrible idea. Just be like, you're screwing it up for everybody. Just stay together for us. Make a sacrifice until the kids are in college.
How long do you have to wait, I think that you got to use, this is fresh. You got to use the monthly get-togethers as kind of like a soft thing. It's like they might alternate for a while. And then you don't have to make the decision about the vacation. You got to get more information. You got to see how things play out. And you got to see, this is their decisions to make.
And they'll probably make the decision for you.
What I would not, I think they're going to make the decision for you. And, but gossip and fomenting discord behind their backs is something you need to try to not go there.
Like talking about it on a podcast? No. This is just somebody
like voting advice. Survivor style without them knowing.
Here's my prediction. I think what will happen is they will figure it out on their own. If the kids are really looking forward to this beach trip, if this beach trip is all that it sounds like it is, I might want to go, first of all, see if I'm available. But if this is a thing that's like it's a tradition and it's for the kids and the kids look forward to it, I think they probably will figure it out. And one of them will be like, hey, I'm going on the trip. I'm bringing the kids.
They don't have kids, or they don't have kids that are of...
Oh, I totally missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, so kick them out.
See, that makes it easier.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot. If they got kids that are... Okay, then that does make it... Sorry. I completely lost that part. If they had kids the same age, that would be the plan. But either way, I do think that they will figure it out on their own.
They're both not going to want to go on vacation.
Of course not.
So just plan the vacation. If you have to go and plan it. And here we are talking about planets again.
Magic planets.
Consult the planets. Mm-hmm. And let the planets make a decision for you. Well, isn't that? I might be open to this now.
There you go.
Hey, listen.
Oh, shirking my own responsibility because
that's what. Look, when you can't come up with a good reason for something,
throw a rune.
You flip a coin, man. That's the whole point. You just flip a coin. It's just let fate decide. Nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes when you have like a really fun friend group and you're like, there's so many ways it can go sideways. I've experienced people talking about like, can my friend start coming? And then you have this thing where it's like, well, can my friend come with their girlfriend or boyfriend? And then it's like, and then they break up. And then it's like, well, now do I like your boyfriend better than I liked you? So now you've broken up, and now they had to be kicked to the curb so that their new boyfriend can be a part of the group.
So what's the solution to this? To that kind of thing.
You just have to, when it's going good, you have to be grateful for it. And when it's going bad, you can't try to have too much control.
You hold it loosely.
You cannot, like, trying to have meetings and like gossipy talk and strategy is only gonna make things worse. Like, you can't hold on tightly to something that's precious.
Your friend group is not an exclusive club.
Yep. And if you try to go that direction,
it's always going to end. And
that's not going to work.
It's always going to end badly.
That's not going to work. If they both come on the vacation, by the way, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's just like if they bring their drama,
it could be entertaining.
Just say, hey, we're not going to make this decision for you. You're both invited. If that's what everybody decides, in the presence of the two people, it's like, hey, you guys are going through some shit. Just as a side note here, we got to figure out our vacation.
They're not going to come together.
So it's like, don't wield more power than you actually have. But then if they both decided to come, just put a little bit of conversation around it where it's like, what the boundaries are. Like if you guys start feeling tension or it starts getting weird, can y'all just kind of go and do that, make it your thing? This isn't a reality show. You're not trying,
unless you want it to be.
Like drama is not a good thing.
No.
It's not entertaining when it's your friend
It's
group.
good when it's on the other side of a screen.
Exactly.
But not when it's on your side of the screen.
Control. I think that's a big problem. Anybody who and I've been guilty of this because when you find something really precious, you want to preserve it. And when you start having these side conversations or you're making decisions or you're starting to wield control, it's just it doesn't work. It doesn't.
Practically speaking, this is a generalization, so it may not apply to you. But my guess would be, and this might be a sexist generalization, I'll just go ahead and say that, is that when it comes to these types of plans, my guess is that the wives are the ones who are making more of the plans. I'm going with statistics here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I bet you that the women are going to figure this out. Like I bet you that they're going to have recommendations. I bet there's going to be some back talk and some back channeling. It's going to be like, we talked to Heather and this is what she said. And the guys are just going to be like, okay. I mean, this is again.
Yeah,
that's probably what's going to happen.
The practical side of it.
That's probably what's going to happen.
Somebody got to slide off the soapbox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just slide back off that soapbox, and just, yeah. I'm glad that we didn't bring up too much of our own baggage specifically into this.
Yeah.
Just more general.
But here's the thing: we don't talk about personal stuff anymore. We just answer questions. Like, I want them to talk about their lives.
It's easiest to choose a side. It's also easiest to be closed-minded. You know, all these are things that like, you gotta work against it. Is that the theme today? Now that's the thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like come up
a new
with,
theme.
I'm trying to come up with like, what does this all mean?
Is that replacing the rec because we don't do that anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that sucks too that they don't do recommendations anymore. So now they do themes at the end. Patterns, man. People love patterns. People love patterns. People don't even understand how much they love patterns.
Yeah.
You can't disrupt a pattern. Pattern is a beautiful thing.
Do you want to be friends with a couple where one of them's a planetary magician and the other one is just a clueless partner?
Who's really into White Lotus?
Who's really into White Lotus? I would kick them both out. Just because it's too complicated. That's the theme.
If there's a silver lining to this, it's that with the advent of streaming, you know, I just want to tell you, when we were coming up, if you were binging a show together as a couple, you had one set of DVDs, okay?
Yeah.
When Jesse and I were really into Alias.
That's right.
We rented the DVDs from Netflix. It was a simpler time. If we had gotten divorced, there would have to been some sort of DVD exchange or else I would have to get my own Netflix account. The beauty of getting divorced in 2025 is if you are currently watching a show together.
Share the password?
I think it's an additional person on the profile.
Oh.
I mean, Jesse and I are already have two separate profiles on every single service.
When you watch something together.
We are so divorce ready.
Which one do you use when you watch together?
It depends on the show.
Netflix has a setup now where it'll log you out if it's on another device or on another internet location. So if they separate, you can't share Netflix accounts anymore.
But how do
you? But what about when Jesse's in North Carolina?
It'll log you out on the other side. It'll just log you out, and then you just have to know their passwords. So then they just have to be able to share their passwords back and forth.
Yeah. Uh-huh. But when you're watching, so you and Jesse, sometimes, how do you choose what you're watching on her account versus yours?
Whose idea it was?
Who likes it more?
Yeah.
Like Christy watches a lot more than I do. I listen to a lot more music than she does. So it's not, so if I'm going to watch something with her, I watch it on my account because it means that I like it and it'll impact my algorithm. But it doesn't impact hers, I don't think, because it's under my account. But if I put it on her account, then I don't get anything on my account has no information. So that's why I do it.
Oh, you got to build your profile, man.
I do. That's what I'm doing. I build my profile with the things that I watch with her and also the things that I watch on
I don't like it to get corrupted. And I tell the kids and, you know,
don't use
Shepherd,
my account.
I'm like, yeah, don't be watching stuff on my account. I don't want the taste of a 16-year-old boy. Jesse is visited.
That sounded gross.
that's not a sentence to say. I mean, it is a sentence.
But it's also true. I also don't want that. Okay, it's true. It's true in every way I said it.
I didn't say it didn't ring true. I just said it sounded gross.
I didn't mean to say it that way, but I also mean it in that way. Jesse is currently visiting Locke at college. So last night we were on the phone and I was like, what are we going to do about White Lotus this week? And she was like, well, what if we, she's like, what if we started it at the same time and watched it together? And I was like, I'm sure there's probably a feature. Isn't there there's a feature on Netflix. I don't know if there's a feature on Max for this like co-watching thing.
Yeah, I don't know if there is for Max. Okay. There was for Disney Plus too.
I was like, I don't want to figure that out technologically.
This is getting more awkward than trying to broach the subject of phone sex.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I was like, let's just watch it separately.
Yeah.
And then I was like, or we can have two episodes to catch up on.
And that's what you did.
Well, it's still, we got the whole week ahead.
She ain't back yet. Okay.
Well, she comes back this week, but
that's why you have to have your own show on deck. You got to have your.
Well, I'm watching Severance.
Severance? Oh, I was just thinking of when I heard Severance.
The show that we were talking about.
Thinking of what's Succession? For some reason, I thought of Succession.
I binged Severance when I was sick, really without checking in to see if she wanted to see it. But I was like, she didn't watch it 4 years ago. So then I'm in season 2. She's in season 1.
Oh.
And I think sometimes that's a cool thing to happen in a relationship. Is to like be at 2 completely different places in a show that you both are really liking.
So you're spoiler. She's
and
got
it
to
makes
avoid
me
you.
feel powerful because I'm like, I know things that you don't know.
Okay.
You know, every time you talk about it, I'm like, ha ha, yeah, that's what you think. You just wait. It's a good position. I actually recommend getting ahead of your partner on a show.
I don't like that.
Secretly getting ahead of them and lording it. Well, no, you can't be secret and lord it over them at the same time. No, it just happened that way with that one. I typically don't do that.
All right. I feel like we were all over the place today. Couldn't come up with a theme, really. But yeah, do what you must until next week, and then we got you.
Hey guys, Ashley from Atascadero, CA, and I'm having soup for dinner tonight. Very good soup that I made all by myself. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I microwaved it for a minute and a half, just based off of your recommendations in a recent episode. So thank you guys, and love you.